my name is Nijayanti. My student ID number is 60360. Today on my first vlog, I would like to talk about the origins and history of international relations. So without any further ado, let's get it. International relations is a young discipline compared with other academic subjects such as history and philosophy. The first dedicated university professorship was not created until 1920 at the University College of Wales. The original purpose of international relations was simple: to declare a new country free from the danger of war, or we can say to build a more peaceful world. After 4 years of bloodshed between 1914 and 1918, David Davis, like many others, hoped that mankind had learned its lesson and that the First World War would be the battle to end all wars. The vision Davis has not come to be. Communities, states, and regions have been bloodied and devastated again and again since 1918 by organized political violence. Understanding the causes and potential remedies of this violence remains one of the key goals of the international relation. Indeed, the growth of international relations in Western universities is directly linked to the simple and appalling fact that the world experienced two devastating and protracted global conflicts in the first half of the 20th century, which were the First World War around 1914 to 1918 and the Second World War around 1939 to 1945. These wars cost tens of millions of lives, brought about radical social change all over the world, enabled the emergence of new great powers, and contributed to the downfalls of others. The effort to make sense of these enormously destructive wars has been at the heart of IR since it first appeared in 1920 as a teaching subject. Next, we have the interwar years. In 1919 to 1939, the 20 Years' Crisis. If war gave birth to academic IR, it was his first mission to establish peace. When the first permanent academic post in IR was funded by David Davis, he made it clear that the position should not be used for vague theorization. Rather, it was meant to help researchers participate in critical thought that would make the world a healthier and prosperous environment. Many negotiators, politicians, and academics at the time hoped that the universally agreed rules of conduct and the formations of international organizations, such as the League of Nations, will make a war obsolete. Instead, the negotiations that put to an end the resolutions of the First World War led to what Carr calls the 20 Years' Crisis, which is a period of political, cultural, and social turmoil between 1919 and 1939 that spanned the interwar years. Carr argues that the 1918-1919 peace settlements contained the seeds for an even bigger conflicts. In particular, he criticized the idealistic U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, whose 14 points formed the basis of many of the treaties. Carr saw strong revisionist states, such as Germany and Japan, unhappy with the post-Great War status quo, and worked hard to reform the international structure to their advantage. He hoped German and Japanese aspirations could be controlled by means of a diplomatic compromise tactic called appeasement. Carr's strategy has in the end proven impractical. Germany and Japan were not satisfied through appeasement. Instead, their invasion and colonization policies persisted, dragging Britain and France in September 1939, the USSR in June 1941, and the US in December 1941, into history's most devastating war. The Second World War and the Cold War that followed on its heels had a major effect on the history of international relations. Removing much of the idealisms and characterized the topics in its earliest days, Next, international political philosophy before 1920. Before 1920, international political philosophy as the study of international relations grew in Europe and the Americas after 1920. It was able to draw on a much older traditions of Western political philosophy that dates back to the 5th century BC. Three authors stand out and deserve particular attentions like Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and then Karl Marx. And then most in IR continues to be affected by the views of Thomas Hobbes on disorder, order, and the states of nature, perhaps because of the absence of a world government. The effect John Locke has on IR stems for his belief in natural rights and his view that a social contract regulates the relationship between a person and a state. Through stressing the role of economics as a guiding force in human history, Karl Marx transformed the study of political philosophy. Such political philosopher theories can be used to examine different aspects of international affairs. Then let's move to history and evolutions of international relations. As an academic discipline, international relations is not very old. Its systematic study started after the First World War, and universities in West Europe and the United States introduced separate courses on it from the 1920s. However, as relations among states or pre-states political system, the subject is very old. As the relation among nation-states, international relations is believed to have developed with the Peace Treaty of Westphalia, which is considered as the creator of modern nation-states in Europe. Before the birth of modern nation-states, pre-states political systems are developed in different parts of the world. It is believed that the Treaty of Westphalia encouraged the rise of independent nation-states by recognizing territorial sovereignty. The treaty also led to the institutionalizations of diplomacy and armies. The peace treaties of Westphalia established the legal basis of modern statehood, and by implications the fundamental rules or constitutions of modern world politics. It was an agreement among Europe's rulers to recognize each other's right to rule their own territories, free from outside interference. This was codified over time in the doctrine of sovereign statehood. In codifying and legitimating the principle of sovereign statehood, the Westphalian constitutions created the modern state system. Westphalian sovereignty located supreme legal and political authority within territorially delimited states. Sovereignty involved the rightful entitlement to exclusive, unqualified, and supreme rule within a delimited territory. It was exclusive insofar as no ruler had the right to intervene in the sovereign affairs of other nations. Unqualified in that within their territories rulers assumed complete authority over their subjects, and supreme in that there was no legal or political authority above the state. The nation-state system that emerged after Westphalia had undergone a long process of evolutions and changes to assume the present nature. During its long process of evolutions, this system was influenced, strengthened, and also affected by several developments, socio-political, economics, and scientific. The rise of capitalism, the industrial revolutions, the French revolutions, the American War of Independence, and colonialisms influenced this evolving process till the end of the 19th century. International relations as a system of interactions among nation-states has also undergone changes from time to time. Yet its basic nature has remained the same. As an academic discipline, international relations is mainly concerned with the study of such interactions that have assumed multidimensional character since the last century. Although primarily a study of the interplay among nation-states, the subject is no more confined only to states. It also deals with other non-state actors and their important roles in the international politics and economy as well. Today, IR is also concerned with new and emerging issues like environment, globalization, terrorism, and energy. The disciplines also analyzes the significance of non-state actors like international organizations, multinational corporations, and non-governmental organizations. The importance of these non-state actors, along with nation-states and issues like environment, globalization, energy, and terrorism, gradually came to acquire a significant place in the study of international relations after the First World War. Thus, IR appeared as a structured and comprehensive academic discipline after the First World War and as a separate branch of study. The subject was offered in European and American universities from the 1920s. The study of IR as an academic discipline evolved further and matured significantly after the Second World War. With the process of decolonization almost complete and the appearance of new states in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, contemporary international politics assumed a new dimensions after the war, which is a period when IR as an academic discipline progressed significantly. Although the world became unipolar after the Cold War, with the United States remaining the only superpowers, the present international order has become more independent due to the spread of globalizations, including international trade, information technology, revolutions, terrorism, and environmental degradations. States are increasingly seeking cooperations from other states, as well as non-state actors, to adjust and compete in this world where states are largely dependent on one another. As an academic discipline, IR is also addressing these issues with more sincerity and articulation after the Cold War. So that's all the origin and history of international relations. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you on my next vlogs. Bye bye, thank you.